Hey everybody, it's Raven the Swift here, and today you can see that I've got a little thing going on here. I'm trying a new setup for some videos, so this is kind of a test run to see how that goes. Let me go ahead and switch over to the video they're going to be watching today. So this is a submission from my friend Devry. He is here in red, fighting another warlord named Raf here on the right in black. If you know me and you've known these videos I do, I basically do reviews of foam fighting tournaments and first to tens and competitive stuff like that. And I'll eventually open it up to other stuff too. But for the context of this, I just do a little bit of critique, do a little review for them, and hopefully they can get something out of this for both of them. Here on the right, I have a tool here called Epic Pen. We're going to see how that actually works. See if it works in the format that it is currently. Anyway, if you haven't watched one of my video reviews before, yeah, I basically don't talk about if the person got hit with something or if they don't. That information isn't really conducive to getting better. So we're just going to start the video and see how it goes. See Devry there get a nice counter on Raf. Raf with a nice hip shot there. Good honor on Devry for taking it. Looked like he got a lot of board on that. Devry there with a nice inside arm shot. Good composure there. And he takes a leg just like he should. Guy's controlling range still. I like it. Nice spin shot by Devry. Good creativity there. I like that he tied up his hand with that spin shot. Let's go back and look at that. See if I can. I want to see the spin shot again. He's got a good setup here. Yeah, good inside fake into the backspin. 3-1. They're doing first to 5 for the record. Nice wrap attack by Raf. I wish he would have landed it to his arm. They miss each other's arms. Raf with a counter hip. Let's go look at that again. Devry throws cross or inside, and Raf gets the wrap counter. It's a precarious situation to be in. Devry gets the leg shot. 4-1. Good pickup by Raf. That was a little bit panicky inside, but good leg shot. Let's see Devry controlling range a little bit better. Make sure he doesn't get hit by those wrap shots. Oh, he missed that stab. We're going to watch this video twice. Inside arm. Nice inside arm. Devry's throwing a lot of cross, hitting Raf in the face, unfortunately. Raf bringing it back. Good composure. And nice. Okay. Raf got it. 5-4, which is really close. Let me see if I can make this better. Unfortunately, this won't disappear. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to slow this down at certain parts, and I'm going to use the Epic Pen to see how it works. See, good case here. Why I tell people to keep their guard closed when they're stepping in. So Raf tries this nice pocket stab, right? He missed. And as he's drawing back his sword, he gets hit with the arm. Unfortunately, he walked into that. Had he not moved forward, he would have been fine. And the issue is that predominantly, he moves on the center line towards his opponent. So if we go to this, add draw with the pen tool, his foot's going to land basically in front of Devry's foot, and he's landing his foot on the center line with Devry, leaving his center open. See? Both their feet are basically in front of each other, leaving his inside vulnerable. What Raf probably needed to do there is actually just circle out instead. he was already in a good board foot forward position. He could just move back. So I'll show you when he goes to do the stab. So he does the stab, and because he's leaned forward, his body's like, oh, I should probably adjust, and he'll just step forward. Instead, had he not, overextended and been in a good balanced position, because you can see like his shoulders coming up a little bit over his knee and his foot. If he had driven off of his back leg a little bit more, his body would have been a little bit more upright, and his hips would have been underneath of him. And instead, he could have actually just taken a step that way with this foot after the stab, which is kind of how you actually want to cover the stab. You actually want to step towards their board side and recover your guard. You got inside slotted. Good hip shot. That's actually a good time to throw a hip when they're just standing in range with you. And Devry's shield is actually cantered off a little bit. His shield is a little high and a little to his left, so he's not adequately blocking that. And Devry, if you're going to stand sword foot forward, you need to block with your sword too, and not counter as much. You can counter; it's a decision to make, but you also need to be aware of like how that affects your fight. Nice spin. I really like the spin. I'm just gonna go back and show it again, because he takes this first step to do a spin exactly how you're supposed to, where his shield foot is coming past his opponent's shield foot, giving them the space that he needs to actually spin and cover his advance. That's cool. And he got away from his opponent's shield and did that spin. It's really nice. (3-1). Sorry if I'm making weird sounds in the mic. Got a cold. Oh yeah, if you ever want to dark side somebody, a better modification for this against lefties. I'll just slow it down so you can see it. This is certainly a thing you can do, but you need to aim higher. I want your hand like up there, not down there, because it simply doesn't get the angle right that you need. I want a thinner one. Let's go with that. It simply doesn't get the angle that you need to get over his board, and this is kind of fine with where his shield is right now, but his hand needs to be higher, and you basically throw it up and throw it flat like you're throwing a reverse wrap to their shield. So instead of going like this, right, how you normally would, you could throw a chop or a flat wrap almost with a normal dark side. This has to come up and over so that you get the correct angle that you need. A little adjustment there might have hit him. I doubt it though, simply because his guard didn't move that much. Got Devry in the leg with that wrap. That's the issue too. If you're throwing board side shoulder against a lefty, you have to expect they're going to throw a wrap to your hip. It's just the natural reaction that you throw one way, I'm going to throw the opposite way because your guard's open. Good follow up there by Raf, moving his opponent's board out of the way, getting the good position, kind of working on his opponent's hesitancy. So he throws this. He got his opponent's gear up. His opponent is off balance, right? His head's going this way. His weight is over the center of this leg. He's basically off of this leg, and he's all kinds of, his shoulders are tilted that way. He's all kinds of off balance. So is Raf here as well, but he has the advantage of attacking, right? His opponent might be off balance, but his opponent just blocked a shot. And since they're both off balance, but Raf made him block a shot, really they haven't lost anything yet. And the follow-up here is Raf's going to bring this leg forward and throw this attack. Waited on his opponent's hesitancy. He takes the center line from his opponent, which I really like. Right, they both have center. Raf's foot is slightly on the inside of Devry's foot, and Devry's guard is open. His sword is vertical. His shield is not covering this section, so Raf's sword can come in between them and throw a really nice slot shot, which he does. one of my favorite setups to take my opponent to the center line is throwing a cross and getting my hand between their guard. Devry staying a little too close, gets hit in the leg. He got hit when he was throwing a fake. Kind of pumps his hand up, or down, I guess, and gets hit in the leg. When you're that close, you should probably just throw an attack that covers you. Because if you throw nothing, they might just attack you. But if you're throwing something that covers your guard, at least, you're more safe. Plus, it's a threat, so they'll stop attacking you. Again, let's go ahead and look at this real quick. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. So, Raf here opens up with a cross side shoulder on Devry. He's going to open up here first. But he's too far away for Devry to respond because Devry was backing up. Now, I just talked to Devry about this actually. Had Garnett, when he opens up with this attack, had Devry, because you notice, like, he's off balance here, right? Like, super off balance, right? His weight's over here, his leg's off the ground. Had, instead of backing up and being defensive, if Devry had just stepped forward and taken his opponent's outside when his opponent threw a cross-side shoulder, he'd just been hitting Garnett or Raf up in his ribs, which is what you counter press and counter attack, or counter initiating your attack off of an opponent's bad attack is really good. It's one of the things I like doing the most, is like make my opponent overextend, throwing a bad shot, and then just counter moving into them, hitting them in the ribs. Instead, because his weight was back and he's being defensive, he has to settle for a shot here. And I just want to point out because Devry is gonna, Garnett throws this. His first shot, I say it's an inside shot because it hit here, but basically Devry's first shot is almost a board side shoulder on Raf, right? It's kind of crossing, and I say it's crossing because the issue is that his board has to come down here to defend himself, and he's basically committed his sword to not blocking and probably not being able to counter aggress on the outside line. So he's taken his shield, he's committed it to his sword side hip, and he's taken his sword and committed it to the center, and he's basically committed it to his opponent's board side shoulder, right? And when you do that, if you don't readjust, you basically lose options to be able to move towards here if you want. Now we can also see that Devry's foot is back here, leaving him more prone to attack the center line as well. And because he throws his first shot, Raf has gone, sweet, I'm going to attack his outside now. So he got the leg. Devry couldn't block his leg because his feet are twisted, his hips are square, and he did not have enough room left to do this, right? Devry's sword is still up here, his shield's still committed down here, and Raf has the outside position, right? You can't see this, but Devry's equipment's all twisted up. Raf has the outside position. He's going to keep hammering this as he should. Let's go ahead. Got inside shoulder. That's exactly what you do. When you're fighting lefties, it's important not to bind up your equipment. It's important not to bind up yourself, and you need to be able to fight inside or outside the center line. Inside, outside, or cross the center line at all times to be able to move how you want to be able to move. Good setup there by Raf. 4-4. Sorry, we'll go back to normal. And he threw this attack without any good setup. Even if I was Garnett, I wouldn't have believed that. Simply on that. Devry has not thrown a hip wrap yet. So, if Devry fakes low, he really hasn't thrown outside arm either, right? And because he hasn't thrown one of those two typical shots, Raf has no reason to actually move his shield. And why would he need to? But Devry throws the dark side, and because he throws a dark side, which is a cross shot, Raf is just going to counter outside. So he comes up, Throws a dark side. He does get a sick block here, which is cool. Really, but again, Raf hasn't moved his shield. He didn't bite the fake. Or simply his response wasn't correct. Right? If I'm throwing that dark side, I want them to believe that. I want them to move their equipment. So I need them to block. And I need them not to want to be able, like, they're not wanting to attack me. If instead their stance is like, when you come up to somebody, based on the things I've done to them, they can only do a couple things. They'll back up, they'll block, or they'll attack you. Or they will do nothing. Sometimes they do nothing. If my opponent, his response to me aggressing on them is attack me, I probably don't want to do the lefty dark side to them. I want them to do one of those 3 other things, right? If they back up, I can just step forward and throw the dark side. It doesn't matter. If they block, great. That means they're moving their equipment. I'm going to hit them. If they do nothing and their guard is weak and their shield's all the way down, I'll just hit it. So that's kind of one of the things the issue is against a lefty is that most lefties will counter anytime you throw a cross to their board side shoulder. So throwing the dark side is kind of hard against them. You have to learn how to do it and when to do it. You need the timing and the position more than just throwing it. Yeah, see, he just decided to attack as soon as Devry opened himself up. He knew he was going to attack, and because he crossed his arms, Garnet had the initiative and could attack him with multiple attacks. Anyway, guys, if you have any more questions about fighting left-handed, you can message me. I am a lefty warlord myself. If you have any advice for these guys, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you have any advice for me, please give it to me. That'd be great. As always, unlike all of our videos, actually, this video is sponsored by Optimum Arms. Optimum Arms is a foam fighting a company that makes foam fighting equipment. They make the best equipment for foam fighting, bar none. These guys make bleeding edge technology for the sport of all ball fight LARPs in the United States. You can check them out on OptimumArms.com. Anyways, I'll check you guys later, and have a nice night.